Welcome to the Dad Shift.
What's up, guys? Today is going to be another episode of the Dad Shift. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the mission trip that I just recently went on. So it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to tell y'all a little bit more about Blast and Cast, what we did while we were in Alaska, and then show you the cabin that we were working on and some of the other stuff we did while we were there. So first of all, I just want to thank everyone that made that possible. There was a lot of people that donated. There was a lot of people that prayed, and it was an amazing trip. We actually had one of our guys on the trip get saved. So he was under the impression that he was living a Christian lifestyle, and he just got convicted while he was there and decided to relieve all doubt. And so he actually ended up getting saved, praying the prayer, and he's going to follow in believer's baptism sometime soon, hopefully. So that's awesome. It's just proof that God's already working in Alaska. I mean, we already know he is, but specifically with Blast and Cast and the mission that they're doing there, it's been incredible. They have just a great place there. They have a great method with how they share the gospel, and it's just a great ministry. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I'm going to start with some scripture. And so we're going to talk about the Great Commission, which I'm sure most of y'all have probably heard it at some point. And it says, this is in Matthew, this is going to be chapter 28, verse 19. It says, therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, of the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you, and surely I am with you always to the end of the age. So if you've heard, like I said, this is the Great Commission, and it's talking about the fact that our job, what we are charged to do, is to make disciples of all nations. So I want to talk about how that can look a little bit different, because most people think just, well, I can't travel, I can't do regular mission trips, my job won't allow it, I can't afford it, whatever the case may be. But the reality is that the mission field is anywhere that's outside the church that you're at. So whether that's at work, whether that's while you're out in the community, or it's a traditional mission trip, or more so kind of like what we did in Alaska was serving another ministry there where we get to outreach and pour that way. Really, the world is your oyster. So we get to be creative with that. God is not limited by our limited minds. And so he can use us in so many different ways. And so get creative. You guys out there that may not be able to go on a traditional mission trip, get a couple buddies and go walk around the mall. If you're fire guys like me, I mean, use your day-to-day work as a ministry. So whether that's catering to the guys that you're working with at the station or the community, we may have some restrictions as far as what we can share, but that doesn't mean we can't share the love of Christ with those people. So the way we treat them and the way we interact with them. So it doesn't mean we have to be shoving the gospel down their throat all the time, but they're going to see that love of Christ. And so it's an opportunity. So I just want to challenge you guys that although you may not get to do a traditional, quote unquote mission trip, that anything outside of your church is a mission field. And like I said, with this trip, it wasn't something we intended, but one of the guys actually got saved. So he was going to serve and ended up getting convicted of the fact that, he wasn't truly a Christian. He had never made that commitment. And so he made that. And so that's awesome. So God's using that. God's using Blast and Cast in Alaska, and he's doing a lot of things. So yeah, I wanted to just kind of preface this with that. And then once again, just thank everybody that made it possible. And so, yeah, I'm going to walk y'all through a little bit about what happened. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Blast and Cast as a whole. So I'm going to try to share my screen here. We'll see how this works. And so with Blast and Cast, if you ever want to, you can go to their website. It's just blastandcast.org. So this is a ministry that focuses on pointing outdoorsmen to the cross. So you can kind of see it there on the screen. And they have different events. So what they do is, they'll have the fishing events, they'll have dove hunts, they'll have other mammal hunts. And so what they do is they'll get people together to go and hunt. They'll have some people that can host, and then they want you to invite a lost person to come with you. And their goal is to basically share Christ with those people in a place where their guard's a little bit down. So whereas the traditional person may not go to church, this is a place where some people feel more connected with nature. They feel connected with the Creator. And it's just a great opportunity to share the gospel with those people. And so that's the idea of what they're going to be doing in Alaska. And so the idea is that next summer, they're going to host teams, and you, being a believer, would invite someone that is not a believer or on the fringe, and you create a connection with them throughout that week. So you spend 7 days up there hunting, fishing, and just spending time in the outdoors. And every day there's a Bible study, and you're going to walk through that Bible study with them and hopefully just form a bond that creates a lifetime bond, and hopefully in some senses like a mentorship, like a Paul Timothy relationship, where you can build them up, show them the way, and then they can in turn do that to someone else in the future. And so Blast and Cast is a great ministry. If you are interested in what they do, I'd encourage you to go to their website, check out more. They do have the gala coming up, which you can check out. So this is one of their biggest probably fundraisers. So it's going to be in Baytown this year. I think it is August 29th. I was going to say 26th. It's August 29th in Baytown. So you can buy tickets for that. They're going to have speakers and giveaways and things like that. So it's a great ministry. So I just really would encourage you guys to check that out. It's a great ministry, and it was awesome to get to work with them in Alaska. And so I'll talk a little bit more specifically what we were doing in Alaska. So I'm going to try to share a little bit. So as I had talked about, we were helping him build a cabin. And so what we did here was, this is the cabin I'm showing you here if you're on the video. This is the entrance. So downstairs you have a kitchen table and the booths and all that. So all that is to share a meal and just talk about your Bible study. They have a small little kitchen in there. Everything here is gas powered, or they have a generator that they use for power. So there's no like power lines. So they use a generator or a battery backup. So in the, I guess you would call it the living room, they have the oven there that heats the whole house. They've got a day bed downstairs as well. There is a bathroom. It does not have plumbing to the toilet right now, but it has running water. This is a bedroom downstairs. This is where Lee was staying. And so there's a little office there for him to work. Lee is the one that's kind of going to be posted up there all summer. And then, like I said, so there's that bathroom again. We'll show you. It's got a shower. They do have hot water. It's runoff gas as well, sink. And like I said, the toilet was not operable. They have a staircase up here to the top, and this is where most of the people end up staying. So you'll see there's a big landing up there, and on both sides of the cabin are just cots that you can, are not cots. They're actually beds. So they're actually twin mattresses. They're very comfortable. I slept like a rock most of the time I was there. So there's 3 on this side you'll see. And then we'll walk around to the other side, which is where I was at, where there's 3 more. So we got incredibly lucky being one of the later teams. Most of the cabin was finished out. The only thing they were lacking was some painting, staining, moving things where they should be. So our main job for the week was just getting it ready to be ready for next year. And so that was, we did a lot of painting and staining, moving things around. And yeah, it was a really great trip, but we also got the opportunity to go fish, which is what they're going to be doing next year. So part of this trip was they are trying to figure out how much it costs to host a team for the week. So that'd be food, water, hunting, gas, fishing, lures, all that kind of stuff. Because what their idea is, they want to host these teams at cost. And so, in a normal week, you would be spending probably anywhere from, probably $4 to $5 grand for a week. You're going to be spending, I don't want to give a number, but we'll just say it'll be exponentially less. And their goal is not to make any money off of this trip. And so we got the opportunity to go fishing as well, so that they kind of figure out, what that's going to cost. So I'm going to show you all some more pictures of, I promise it wasn't all just fun. We did do some work, but obviously the pictures come from the fun. So I'll keep showing y'all some of that stuff too, just to share with you guys. So yeah, we had, this is on the campus right there. So they have this big, huge root ball that has their Blast and Cast sign. That's just awesome. This is the view from the back porch of Bill's house. So Bill's is the land. He's the one that's donated the land to Blast and Cast to use for the cabin that we'll be staying in. So there's his cabin, and then the Blast and Cast cabin, the rock. And so this is the view. You're looking out into just a beautiful, that's ocean water. So that channel is probably 11 to 16 miles wide. I can't remember. But as soon as you go offshore, it gets to like 1,500 feet deep. So the cruise ships, if you do an Alaskan cruise, you've probably cruised right by this camp. It's pretty awesome. And we actually got to do some fishing out there as well. This is the cabin, that stove that heats up the house. And this is just me on the beach there behind the house. And then I got the chance to do some fly fishing. So this was a cutthroat trout that I got. This is just walking through one of the places we got to go fly fishing, which was truly amazing. And Harper would be upset if I didn't mention. So she has this thing where she calls, instead of saying like the boogeyman, she says honker scaries. I don't know where she came up with that, but I thought it's funny because they have a place called Honker, Alaska, and they have the Honker canoe route. So I took that picture specifically for Harper, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So that's Honker canoe route. This is the place we got to go fly fishing. So that freshwater fishing, just a beautiful lake in the middle of the mountains there. So if you get to go, you will probably go to this lake. It's Luck Lake. This is when we were out on the boat, just looking out across the islands. And so we're in Prince of Wales. There's a bunch of islands around. There's a bunch of different places you can go fishing. We primarily caught the halibut, and then I caught one of these rockfish right here. And that was our catch for one of the days that we went fishing the halibut. This is back on that back view. You can see a little deer at the bottom. Those are black Sitka deer. That was a little fawn with spots. This is Kyle actually doing some work. Is one of the times he wasn't getting a shower. I'm just kidding. That's an inside joke. We said that he got way too many showers last week because we were trying to save water, but no, he was working hard there, putting up some siding on the edge of the cabin. This is another place we went fishing, to Hatchery Creek, and got to see some of the salmon running up the creek, which was pretty cool. The scenery in Alaska is just beautiful. So if you've never gotten a chance, I would encourage you to go. And if you get to go with Blast and Cast, it's no wonder that the guy that was there had a connection and realized, this is the lifestyle that I want to be a part of. Seeing Christ's creation in this this atmosphere, this place, it was amazing. We had beautiful weather all week, and it's hard not to get close to God there. And so we actually got the chance, since the cabin was mostly finished. We went into Craig, Alaska, and actually partnered with the church. They had some rot in this area, and so we ended up building some doors and tearing out this wall for them and installing the doors, which was great. And I don't have the finished product, which I should, but this is our team picture, the guys that got to go. And then if you go, there's a chance that you'll be flying in to Kaufman Cove, and this is one of the planes that you would use. We actually took the ferry into Hollis, and then that's the boat they use for Blast and Cast. A really nice boat, great cabin boat. I think you can fit about 8 people in that cabin. It'd be a little tight, but it's an awesome trip, and it keeps you cool. If it's cold outside, you can stay warm as well. But in the summer, it's pretty nice weather. I think the average temperature was about 60s, 70s there. And this is Craig just cleaning some fish that we caught. Eagles everywhere on the island. So that was really cool. If you get a chance, there's a video on my Instagram of an eagle that came about 8 foot from us, just flew right in front of me. It was incredible. And then this is us just having some of our quiet time. So like I mentioned, every night you have a quiet time, or every morning you do a Bible study together, and then at night you come and talk about it. And it's just they have a great curriculum. There's another trout that I caught, and that's a view looking from the cabin out to one of their neighbors' properties. And that's Bill's house. The Christmas cabin is what it was called. Or Christmas, yeah. So yeah, a great place, amazing scenery, just beautiful all around. I mean, everywhere you look, just beautiful. And that's actually the ferry on the way to Hollis, and then that's the taxiway at the airport. So Ketchikan, small airport. I think there's a single runway and like 3 gates, but it's really just 1 gate. So it's tiny. So yeah, it was an amazing trip. I am so incredibly thankful for everyone that made it happen, and just thankful that I got to go. It was truly, truly life-changing. Just getting to serve Blast and Cast in the capacity that we did, form the relationships I did with our people. So one of our pastors from my local church went with us, so I got to bond with him, and then other guys that were there. 2 or 3 of these guys I had never met before, and are 2, sorry. And, I consider them lifelong friends now. So I would encourage you guys, like I said, as far as serving goes and ministry opportunities and mission trips, get creative, guys. Find a group of friends, go and serve. it doesn't have to look like going to Africa or going to another country or Alaska or anything like that. Like, you can do it in your backyard, because the reality is that everyone in the world can be reached by Christ, and he doesn't have boundaries. So whether it's your neighbor or someone across the world, they still need to hear Jesus. And so I just wanted to share that trip with you guys, share a little bit more about Blast and Cast. Like I say, I would encourage you to go look at them. Again, a great ministry. Look and see if they're in your area, because they do a lot of stuff, here north of Houston. They do golf trips, so they'll do stuff around the coast. They do stuff in Florida, I believe. I think they've got some chapters in Georgia. They've obviously got that camp in Alaska now, but they do fishing trips on the lakes around here. They do dove hunts in Central Texas, and then they're just expanding as we go. So there's so much happening. It's a great ministry, and it's a great opportunity, like I said. So if you are into hunting or fishing or just shooting, and you want an opportunity to share with people, but maybe you don't feel adequate to do that, this is a great opportunity. You get to bring someone with you, and they're going to do the job of sharing that, making that initial connection to Christ. And then you hopefully get to cultivate that relationship. So it's a really great ministry. I would encourage you guys to check it out. And I just want to thank you again for the opportunity. I love you guys, and we'll see you next shift.